The fanbase for Spider-Man has been exploding with excitement following the recent long-awaited release of the teaser trailer to SpiderMan No Way Home. Initially, the film did have a release in early November of this year, but had to be pushed further back to give them a little bit more time for filming due to the production industry being shut down in 2020. Following the release of the new trailer of the third Spider-Man film, we thought it'd be interesting to take a look back to the other live-action Spider-Man films featuring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. The Spider-Man franchise as a whole has been one of the most successful films over the MCU. The first feature of Spider-Man on the big screen was in Japan in 1978. It was a short film with a runtime of 24 minutes and was based on the animated series. Now for the first set of films, Tobey Maguire was the original, so you say OG, of the live-action Spider-Man. He was the one to introduce us to Spider-Man in the real world sort of format.
First I heard about Spider-Man. It sounded interesting to me, but only if it was done the right way, like done in a way that would excite me, you know, in a classy way with a good filmmaker and a good story and a good cast.
When I first heard about Spider-Man, I was like, oh my god, like what a cool character to do, because Spider-Man's, you know, more humanistic superhero.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a pretty complicated character. There's a lot going on, and the script is really rich, and the character is very rich. But the script is good, you know, it's a good guide for me to follow, and Sam Raimi, the director, is wonderful, and we're really collaborative, so, I mean, it's complex in the sense that there's a lot there, but it's not, you know, it's very understandable.
In the 1980s, Marvel had negotiations with film producers to bring Spider-Man to the big screen, with Dr. Octopus as being the primary antagonist, written as Parker's mentor turned enemy.
In peak performance, with all 4 tentacles going simultaneously, there were 16 puppeteers working. Each puppeteer had a very specific job. Each tentacle takes 4 people to operate.
The final version portrayed the Green Goblin as the main villain.
You're pathetically predictable, like a moth to the flame. What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out?
Tobey Maguire did actually do a screen test for the movie as well.
Get the out of here.
Don't you
The film was later cancelled from production due to the budget cuts and some of the production team stepping down from the project. Sequences removed from the final film had Spider-Man protecting Fargus, the wheelchair-using Oscorp executive, from the Goblin, and Spider-Man defusing a hostage situation on a train. One interesting fact about this movie that many may not know is the original movie poster portrayed Spider-Man peering through the Twin Towers in New York. Following the events of 9/11, the poster did have to have some revisions. The release of the movie became the first film to pass the $100 million mark in a single weekend in 2002. The second release of Tobey Maguire's movies did introduce Dr. Octopus also.
As soon as you get free.
I should have known Osborn wouldn't have the spine to finish you.
Shut it down, Ock. You're gonna hurt a lot more people this time.
Well, that's a risk we're willing to take.
Going into the third film, Sandman did make an appearance. Now this is where we also get to see the first live-action appearance of Venom vs. Spider-Man. Following the events of Spider-Man 3, a fourth installment titled Spider-Man 4 was set to be released on May 6, 2011, followed by a Venom spin-off film. But both were cancelled due to Raimi's withdrawal over creative differences with the writers and producers.
Spider-Man, I love that people are having a collective escapist experience in mass. You know, that's fun. It's fun to be a part of that joy for people. How do we press this? How do we make it more exciting, more fun? How do we evolve the character and make it a rich story? And how do I make it interesting for myself to go do something else, you know?
This leads us into the production of Andrew Garfield's versions of his film in 2012, acquiring one sequel releasing in 2014. This was meant to be a repurpose of the Tobey Maguire films that were cancelled.
I had to fight a lizard today, but it was not an ordinary lizard.
Cut. Good. Cut. Good.
This version of the Spider-Man movies portrayed the lizard as the antagonist, being featured for the first time, giving a reptile versus insect kind of scenario. The sequel, on the other hand, had the first appearance of Electro, as well as a return from the Green Goblin.
You meant you said no.
Harry, what did you do?
What you made me do. You were my friend, and you betrayed me!
No.
You stay right where you are. Do not move. Freeze! Get down! On the ground!
Moving on to Tom Holland's franchise, starting with Homecoming, releasing as part of Phase 3 in the MCU. His version has many differences because the movie portrayed him to be a part of the Avengers.
Look at you go. Wow, nice catch. 3,000 pounds, 40 miles an hour. It's not easy. You got a passport?
No, I don't even have a driver's
You ever been
license.
to Germany?
No.
Oh, you'll love it.
I can't go to Germany.
Why?
I got homework.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
No, I'm being serious. I can't just drop out of school.
Might be a little dangerous. Better tell Aunt Hottie I'm taking you on a field trip.
It starts out how we all know, with Peter being solely focused on the crime fighting. He quits his school's academic decathlon, wanting to prove his worth and placed as a team member for the Avengers.
I can only imagine what it is you're going through.
Anytime you're going to cast a role as big as Spider-Man, there's a huge search involved, and Seraphin and her team looked at 7,500 tapes.
It was crazy. Do I need to do that? I know we're on different teams. I just don't want to be disrespectful to you.
Surrender.
Wait. Whoa, that thing does not obey the laws of physics.
And obviously he got the gig.
What are you doing here?
It's about time we met.
With his second film, Far From Home, we get to see Mysterio, and this being the second Spider-Man film to be released in Phase 3, and this is the first of the Spider-Man franchise to portray Spider-Man fighting alongside a team unlike the other Spider-Man movies. Kevin Feige actually talked about keeping Spider-Man in the age range of the high school era and why.
We want to play with Spider-Man in the high school years. Because frankly, there have been 5 Spider-Man films, and the amazing thing about it is even though there have been 5 Spider-Man films, there's so many things from the comics that haven't been done yet. Not just characters or villains or supporting characters, but sides to his character.
When it comes to the upcoming third installment, SpiderMan No Way Home, there has had rumors upon rumors of who exactly we're going to see in the film. Seeing as how we only got the teaser trailer, there is still more to be revealed with a second trailer. The trailer has also broken the record for the most views in its first 24 hours. It's picked up a huge 355 million views on the first day on YouTube, beating Avengers Endgame's record, which garnered 289 million views in the same period in 2019. Also, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 won't be the next Spider-Man movie we'll see on screen, but for some fans, it could be even more anticipated than Spider-Man No Way Home, even though the release date is further out, debuting on October 7, 2022. But which Spider-Man was your favorite, and which did you think shaped the real concept of Spider-Man with the version we see from the comics?